Nisha, I love y'all. I'm sorry that went my attention. The gun went off. I would never try to hurt him. He's a great daddy. I'm sorry, man.
Somebody help me, please.
This is the story of David Edens, a 22-year-old father who thought distance would keep him safe, who thought moving to a cheap motel would give him the space he desperately needed. He was wrong, because on November 19th, 2019, the woman he'd been running from found him, and when she did, she brought a gun. But here's what makes this case so disturbing. David saw it coming. He recorded her threats, posted them online, even wrote about how toxic she was just hours before his death. And yet, when she came banging on his motel room door that night, screaming for him to come outside, he opened it. One decision, one moment. And now David's 2 kids are growing up without their father. This isn't just a story about murder. It's a story about what happens when you think you've escaped someone who refuses to let you go. Welcome to Hot True Crime Stories. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon so you won't miss out on our important true crime documentary.
Well, leave. Man, somebody come get their home girl, man. What wrong with her? Huh?
You heard me.
What you saying?
Why you up there trying to front for them? I cracked your window.
This not my car.
Who car is
It ain't in my name.
You driving it, so you responsible.
I'm taking it back today. It's a rental.
I don't care.
Move.
I'm gonna take your tag.
Y'all look at this. She got a 211, y'all. No. Baby got a black and mild behind her ear. No, she losing herself. Baby mama. Why you doing all that?
I want to talk to you.
Where my child at? Can we go take the DNA test today?
Yeah, it's Sunday.
Damn, boy, I wish I never dealt with her, boy, ever again in my life. I had to bag back up. But y'all going in on these comments. Look. Baby mama. Baby mama, I'm tired of you. You doing things that a child will do. Somebody help me, please.
Before we get to that motel room, you need to see the videos, because David recorded everything. And what he captured on camera, it's the blueprint for what would happen 3 weeks later. That's David, recording another argument with Kadesha Bryson, the mother of his youngest daughter. I'm gonna pull up. I'll run you over. That's Kadesha, making threats. Again. Now listen to David's response. He laughs, posts it to Facebook, adds commentary like, "Y'all see this? Baby mama crazy." He thought it was funny, thought putting her on blast would embarrass her into backing off. But look at her face in that video. Listen to her voice. That's not someone joking around. That's someone making a promise. And it gets worse. In another video, David's driving. Kadesha's car pulls up behind him. She starts tailgating, swerving, trying to run him off the road. "Somebody help me, please. She's not gonna stop chasing me. Y'all don't understand what kind of psycho this is." David films it all, posts it all, but he never calls the police, never files a restraining order, never takes it seriously enough. Maybe he thought she'd calm down. Maybe he thought going public would protect him somehow. It didn't. Because here's what David didn't understand. When you're dealing with someone who's lost control, someone who's made threats on camera, exposure doesn't stop them. It escalates them. 3 weeks after that last video, David would be dead, shot in a motel hallway. And the person holding the gun? The same woman he'd been laughing at online. So let me ask you something. If someone threatened to run you over, chase you down, hurt you, and you had it all on video, would you laugh it off? Or would you take it seriously? Drop your answer in the comments. Because what David did next might have cost him his life. And if you've ever dealt with someone who made threats like this, someone who wouldn't leave you alone no matter how many times you asked, hit that like button. Because this story, It's for you. We're just getting started. David Marquise. Duke Edens Jr., born and raised in Greenville, South Carolina. Father of two beautiful kids, aspiring rapper, a guy who lit up every room he walked into. His family describes him as funny, lively, caring, the kind of person who'd give you the shirt off his back if you needed it. He wasn't perfect. He had his struggles, but he was trying to build a better life, trying to be there for his kids, especially for his daughter, Kalani, the one he shared with Kadesha. David met Kadesha a few years earlier. She worked at McDonald's. They started dating, and for a while things seemed okay. But people close to David say the relationship was toxic from the start. Constant fighting, constant drama. Kadesha was accused by her exes of being controlling, volatile, impossible to reason with, but David stayed. Maybe he thought he could fix it. Maybe he thought it would get better after their daughter was born. It didn't. By 2019, David had had enough. He moved out, started living at the Motel 6 on Wade Hampton Boulevard, a temporary spot, just until he could figure things out. His family says he was planning to file for full custody of Kalani, that he had evidence, videos, messages, everything showing Kadesha was unstable. And the day before he died, David told his cousin he was finally going to do it. He was going to fight for his daughter, protect her from the chaos. Kadesha found out, and 24 hours later, David was dead. Now here's the thing about leaving a toxic relationship, it's the most dangerous moment. Because the person you're leaving doesn't see it as you choosing yourself. They see it as you rejecting them, abandoning them, humiliating them. And for some people, that's unforgivable. David thought moving to a motel would give him space, safety, a chance to breathe. But Kadesha wasn't going to let him breathe. She was going to make sure that if she couldn't have him, nobody could. Because on the night of November 19th, Kadesha showed up at that motel, and she didn't come to talk. Here's what I want to know. If someone you love was in a relationship like this, constant threats, constant chaos, someone who wouldn't let them leave, would you tell them to get out? Or would you worry that leaving might make things worse? Be honest. Drop your answer in the comments. And if you believe people deserve to know these stories, if you think cases like David's shouldn't just disappear into the news cycle and be forgotten, subscribe right now. Turn on notifications, because this story isn't over. And what happened next will change the way you think about toxic relationships forever. November 19th, 2019, Tuesday night, around 10:30 p.m., David's at the Motel 6, third floor, probably watching TV, maybe scrolling through his phone, just trying to have a quiet night. But quiet wasn't in the cards, because Kadesha showed up, and she was looking for him. Now here's where this gets terrifying. Kadesha didn't know which room David was in. The motel has dozens of rooms, 3 floors. She could have asked the front desk, but they wouldn't have told her, so she did something else. She started breaking windows. Room 304, glass shatters, nobody inside, wrong room. She moves to the next one. Room 306, another window, another crash, still not him. By the third window, guests are panicking, calling 911. Someone's breaking into rooms. We need police, now. The 911 operator logs it as a burglary, because that's what it looked like. Property damage, break-ins. Nobody said murder. Not yet. But this wasn't a burglary. This was a hunt. Kadesha kept going, room after room, window after window, until someone, maybe another guest, maybe someone who recognized her, pointed her in the right direction. David's room. Now imagine being David in that moment. You're in your room. You hear glass breaking, screaming, chaos outside. And then you hear her voice, banging on your door, screaming your name. Come outside, just come outside. A witness staying at the motel watched the whole thing. She said David hesitated. You could see it through the peephole probably. He knew who was out there, knew what she was capable of. But he opened the door anyway. Why? Was he trying to calm her down? Did he think he could talk his way out of it? Did he believe, maybe for just a second, that she wouldn't actually hurt him? We'll never know, because the second that door opened, everything changed. Kadesha didn't argue, didn't yell, didn't even say a word. She just raised the gun. Here's the question that haunts me. If you heard someone you used to love screaming outside your door, someone who'd threatened you before, someone you knew was dangerous, would you open it? Would you try to reason with them? Or would you call 911 and stay inside? Comment below. Be honest with yourself. And if you're still watching, if you're still here with me in this moment, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Because what happened next is the part that destroys David's family to this day. And I need you to stay with me through it. Don't let David's story get buried. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because stories like this, they need to be told. David opens the door. Kadesha's standing there, gun in hand. The witness said she didn't hesitate, didn't give him a chance to speak, didn't give him a chance to explain or beg or run. She just raised the gun and fired. One shot, center mass. That's all it took. David collapsed, right there in the hallway. Third floor of the Motel 6, in front of witnesses, in front of people who tried to help. The witness ran to him, tried to stop the bleeding, but it was too late. By the time paramedics arrived, David was gone. 22 years old, father of 2, dead in a motel hallway because he opened a door. And Kadesha? She was already gone. Fled the scene, disappeared into the night. Police arrived expecting a burglary. Instead, they found a homicide. They found broken windows, terrified guests, and a young man bleeding out on the floor. The Greenville County Coroner's Office would later confirm the time of death, 10:35 p.m. David's family got the call later that night. They couldn't believe it, couldn't process it, because David had just been posting on social media, just been talking about staying away from toxic relationships, and now he was gone. But here's where this story takes a turn. A few hours after the shooting, Kadesha walked into a police station, turned herself in, admitted she shot David, but she said it was an accident. An accident. He'd let that sink in for a second. She hunted him, room by room, broke 4 windows, found his door, called him outside, raised a gun, pulled the trigger. And that's an accident? The police didn't buy it. They charged her with murder, possession of a weapon during a violent crime, and malicious damage to property. But in court, everything would change, because Kadesha's lawyers had a strategy, and it worked. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. Do you think it was an accident? Seriously. After everything you just heard, the hunt, the broken windows, the gun, the shot, do you believe the gun just went off? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm genuinely curious what you think. And here's the thing. If you're still not subscribed, I actually want to know why. What's stopping you? Is it the content? The pacing? Do you think I'm being too harsh on Kadesha? Not harsh enough? Leave a comment and let me know. Because if you're watching this far, you clearly care about these stories. So why not subscribe and make sure you don't miss the next one? I'm reading every single comment, and I want to hear your side. November 20th, 2019, one day after David's murder. Kadesha's bond hearing. The courtroom is packed. David's family is there. His father, David Sr., his cousins, his friends, all of them demanding answers. And Kadesha? She's crying. The judge reads the charges. Murder. Possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Malicious damage. Kadesha sits there, head down, shaking, and then she does something that shocks everyone in the room. She looks directly at David's family, tears streaming down her face, voice breaking. I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt him. He was a great dad. I loved him. It was an accident. David's family doesn't move, doesn't react. Because how do you respond to that? How do you respond to someone who just killed your son, your cousin, your friend, and now wants sympathy? David's cousin stands up, voice steady but filled with pain. We accepted you as family. You had a child with him. We never treated you differently. We never thought you'd be the one to take his life. David Sr. asks the only question that matters. Why? Just tell us why. Kadesha doesn't answer, just keeps crying. The judge denies bond. Kadesha is held at the Greenville County Detention Center while the case moves forward. But here's where things get complicated. Kadesha's defense team argued that this wasn't murder. It was voluntary manslaughter, a crime of passion. They said yes, she shot him, but it wasn't premeditated. It was a heat-of-the-moment decision during an argument that spiraled out of control. And somehow the prosecution agreed. On June 16th, 2021, nearly 2 years after David's death, Kadesha pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter and possession of a weapon during a violent crime. She was sentenced to 15 years in prison. But with the sentence suspended after 10 years, she'd be eligible for release with good behavior. 10 years. For hunting a man down, breaking windows to find him, shooting him in a hallway. 10 years. David's family was devastated. They said justice wasn't served. That 10 years isn't enough. That Kadesha took a father away from his children and only got a slap on the wrist. And honestly, I don't disagree with them, because here's what bothers me about this case. The defense successfully argued it was a crime of passion, that Kadesha didn't plan to kill David, that the gun went off during a heated argument, but the evidence tells a different story. She drove to the motel, brought a gun, broke windows looking for him, found his room, called him outside, and shot him. At what point does that stop being heat of the moment and start being premeditated murder? But there's one more piece to this story, one more victim that nobody talks about. Do you think 10 years is enough for breaking windows, hunting someone down, and pulling the trigger? Be real with me. Drop your answer in the comments. And if you think Kadesha got off too easy, if you think cases like this deserve harsher sentences, hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Because we cover stories the mainstream media forgets. Stories where justice doesn't always win. And if you're not subscribing, I genuinely need to understand why. Are you siding with people like Kadesha? Do you think she deserves sympathy? Drop a comment. Defend your position. I'm reading every single one. David and Kadesha had a daughter together. Her name is Kalani. She was 4 years old when her father was murdered. 4 years old when her mother was sent to prison, and nobody asked her if she was ready to lose both parents in one night. Think about that for a second. Kalani didn't do anything wrong. She didn't choose her parents, didn't choose their toxic relationship, didn't choose the violence, but she's the one paying the price. David's family's raising her now. They're doing their best. But how do you explain to a little girl that her mom killed her dad? How do you explain that the two people who were supposed to protect her, love her, build a life for her, destroyed each other instead? And it's not just Kalani. David had another child, a son. He's growing up without his father too. And Kadesha's other 3 kids, they're growing up without their mother. This is what toxic relationships do. They don't just destroy the people in them, they destroy everyone around them. The kids, the families, the communities. David posted about it. He said, "All I know is I will stay single for life before I enter another toxic relationship." He knew. He understood what he needed to do. But knowing isn't enough, because Kadesha wouldn't let him leave. And when he tried, when he moved to that motel and started planning for custody, she made sure he'd never leave anyone ever again. Here's what most people don't know about this case. David's family said he was planning to file for full custody of Kalani, that he had evidence, videos, text messages, everything, showing Kadesha was unstable, unfit to parent. And the day before he died, he told his cousin he was finally going to do it. He was going to fight for his daughter, protect her from the chaos. Kadesha found out, and 24 hours later, David was dead. So let me ask you this. Was it really a crime of passion? Or was it the only way Kadesha thought she could stop David from taking her daughter away? Was it an accident? Or was it calculated revenge? We'll never know for sure, because Kadesha pled guilty, took the deal, and never had to explain herself in front of a jury. But one thing is certain, Kalani lost her father that night, and she'll grow up knowing her mother is the reason why. Here's my last question for you. Was justice served, or did Kadesha get away with murder? Drop your answer in the comments. I'm reading every single one. This is the story of David Edens, a 22-year-old father who thought distance would keep him safe, who thought moving to a motel, posting videos, and planning for custody would be enough. It wasn't, because when you're dealing with someone who's lost control, someone who sees your freedom as their failure, distance doesn't protect you. And David paid for that with his life. If you know someone in a relationship like this, someone who's being threatened, controlled, stalked, or hunted, don't wait. Don't assume they'll be okay. Don't assume the threats are empty. David assumed that. And now his daughter is growing up without him. Kadesha is serving 10 years. She'll be out before Kalani graduates high school. And when she gets out, what then? Does she get to be a mother again? Does she get to move on like nothing happened? David doesn't get that option. His kids don't get that option. And that's why stories like this matter. So here's what I need from you. If this story mattered to you, if you think David's daughter deserves to know people care, hit that like button. Share this video. Make sure it reaches someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe. Turn on notifications. Because stories like this don't go viral by accident. They go viral because people like you refuse to let them disappear. Don't be the person who watches, nods, and scrolls past. Be the person who makes sure David's story reaches someone who might be in the same situation, someone who might open the door when they shouldn't. Subscribe now. Thank you for watching to the end, and I will see you on the next episode of Hot True Crime Stories. Stay safe.